overcome them all. HopeNetwork.org/autism.
Inside prison, there's a different world. A hunting ground where only the strong survive.
And basically survive when you're not free is by all means. Any and everybody that ain't your friend is your enemy. You got to eat.
They do what it takes to get what they need.
You gonna give it to me tonight? Yeah, I got
The prison has rules, and so do the inmates. An unwritten code of survival by any means.
It's the jungle. You gotta live like it. You gonna be a man on mouth.
This is where predators meet prey. Inside Lebanon prison. It's 2 p.m. New inmates arrive at Lebanon Correctional Institution near Dayton, Ohio.
Name and number, fellas, and watch your bottom step. Go around the front of the bus.
7057.
These men are about to discover prison is a place with its own rules. To survive, they're going to have to learn them fast. Rule number 1, no contraband.
All fight you guys get up and strip.
Guards search their bodies for smuggled weapons and goods. Next, inmates learn the prison hierarchy. New arrivals are at the bottom of the heap.
If I have to find you and hunt you down in order to give you back your property, I'll put you right in the hole. Simple as that. Any questions so far?
Lebanon is a close security prison, just one step away from maximum. 2,200 of Ohio's most dangerous men live on this hall. General population is separated into 9 cell blocks. Each has 3 tiers and houses up to 250 men. The majority of the prisoners here have been convicted of violent crimes. 30% are killers. A quarter are sexual predators. These men victimized innocent people in the outside world. Now, behind bars, the predation continues as the strong feed off the inexperienced and weak.
Big Pepper.
Dyricus Albert is one of the strongest.
I'm an original baby gangster from Eastside, Santana Block, Compton Crip. I'm the head crip in Lebanon, and I keep the ball rolling. Yeah, we lost, man. It's crazy.
Raised in a gang, Albert earned his way to Lebanon by shooting a man who didn't pay for his drugs. Albert shot at him not once, not twice, but 4 times, firing at his victim's back as he collapsed on the ground. And that's what he did before getting to prison. Once here, he fought his way to the top of the Crips.
You gonna give it to me tonight?
One of Lebanon's most powerful gangs. For inexperienced newcomer Scott Crandall, he knows just enough to be worried. It's his first week here.
It's scary at first, just expecting the unknown. It's like walking into school for the first time, like into high school or something like that.
High school is the world Crandall left behind. Just 2 years ago, he was in 10th grade, an ordinary kid from a good home. One night in December of 2004, his life drastically changed. It started when Crandall accidentally rear-ended a car. Angry, one of the car's passengers punched him and then sped away. Crandall chased him, pushing the other vehicle off the road and into a telephone pole. The crash injured a pregnant passenger in the other car, and she miscarried her baby. Crandall was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 7 years. Now he has to figure out how to live and survive as an inmate. Unlike many of the prisoners, Crandall's not violent, street smart, or strong. 3 strikes against him as he tries to make his way in the criminal world.
No, I'm not like the guys in here. Most of them have been here before, got in trouble all their life. They really don't care what goes on their record and everything. But me, I've never been in trouble before. I don't go looking for trouble.
All that stands between him and veteran convicts is the institution. Ernie Moore is warden of Lebanon. He's roaming the cell blocks, doing his best to keep the inmates safe from one another.
How's it going?
I'm ready to go to the shower, sir.
All right.
Here, a knife is a deadly weapon.
It's not easy.
A knife is a deadly weapon. Now, I'm not saying I'm a good guy, but the guy got caught with a knife, man was literally trying to kill me.
I got inmates here that have committed aggravated murder, that have murdered more than one person, serious sex offenders that have raped multiple women. I've got guys in here that have kidnapped people, heavy hitter drug traffickers. I've got guys in here that have seriously assaulted staff, seriously assaulted children.
Controlling hundreds of violent men is a daily challenge. Lebanon is a well-run prison, but a recent stabbing and escape attempt have put everyone on edge. Still, staff try hard to rehabilitate inmates through various programs, including work in a license plate plant that makes all of Ohio's plates.
We need to work with these guys because 80 or 90% of the inmates, even here at Lebanon, are someday going to be back out in society.
But many inmates don't care about their future and rehabilitation. They care about the here and now. To make their lives more comfortable, they'll steal from whomever they can.
I need you to get involved in positive activities while you're here. I see it as part of my job as the warden to put as many positive activities in front of you.
At orientation, the warden warns new arrivals of the dangers ahead.
And every prison's a little bit different, so I wanted to get this opportunity to explain to you some of the rules. But before
Scott Crandall listens intently. Warden Moore tells the inmates whom to avoid.
Something called the 10% rule. Wherever you go in life where there's a large group of people, usually about 10% of those people are knuckleheads. It's the guys running the drugs. It's the guys that's doing the gangs. It's the guys that's extorting and stealing from people. That's who I'm talking about. What I'm asking is you stay away from them and do your time.
Many new inmates fall prey to exploitation through activities that seem harmless. Gambling, borrowing, even accepting gifts can put them in another's debt. Crandall will have to quickly learn these unwritten rules, or risk losing what safety he has left.
I hope something good comes out of this, that I can actually keep going. I just hope it all turns out all right in the end, but right now, I don't know.
In addition to criminals who would shake him down for money, there are also sexual predators within these walls. Crandall doesn't know it, but even his own cellmate is a serial sex offender. In prison, there are the predators, there are the prey. And there are the staff that try to keep them separate. But not all officers can stand up to the pressure. The convicts single them out for harassment and abuse. 23-year-old Justin Johnson will soon find out if he can cut it. Fresh from college with a degree in criminal science, he's about to be sworn in as one of Lebanon's newest officers. Johnson's considering a career with the FBI. He figures prison is a great place to study the criminal mind.
I'm doing something good, you know. Society, really, they don't want these people around. That's why they're in prison. They committed crimes. I keep them here.
Officer Johnson, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Get
Set of cups. Thank you.
But Johnson's enthusiasm for the job does little to calm his nerves as he walks in.
And some days you're a little nervous walking in. I mean, at first, when you first start, you're nervous because you never know what you're going to expect in this place. And that's why every day is always a little different. Every day brings a new challenge. You always got to be on top of your game.
It's 5 p.m. on E Block. Johnson must now direct hundreds of hardened criminals. His uniform doesn't give them their respect. That's something he has to
You
earn.
want to take a shower? Where's your stuff? You want to take it? All right, get wet. Get wet.
Almost immediately, the inmates start to test him.
What do you want?
He usually don't say nothing. He just walk by with his mouth shut, like he's scared of something. He usually don't too much say nothing. He don't do none of that. He putting on the show today.
These men are deadly, and this battle of wills is not a game.
All right, so keep your head in your door, all right? Keep your head in your door.
Inmates, especially gang members like Darius Albert, have much to gain by undermining Johnson's authority.
When a new CO come in, we judge him just by the way he look. If he look all soft and sweet voice, we like, oh, we got one. We're gonna have our way with him. CO like Johnson, the way he's smooth cut, and that's why most people don't respect him, because of the way he look and the way he act. Once you let a person, an inmate run over you, CO don't get no respect nowhere. We'll get a signal to our homies like, yeah, he cool, him. We're gonna do what we wanna do.
Gangs try to manipulate weak guards through intimidation and extortion. Officers have even been forced into service running drugs. If he wants to work this beat, Johnson can't back down.
Hey, where are you going? They're definitely testing me a lot more, being new. They yell at you, they cuss at you. You know, it is hard, you know, you're running around, you're trying to maintain the order. You're trying to do a whole lot of things at one time. And sometimes it does get a little overwhelming. Do me a favor, keep your head in your door. All right. Get your heads in your doors. More, get your head in your door.
And the numbers are against him. E Block has 220 prisoners and just 2 guards. The balance of power can quickly shift. Inmates have attacked 5 officers at Lebanon in the past year. And just a few weeks ago, an inmate battered a female officer on cell block duty at a nearby prison. Johnson carries the same protective gear she did.
This right here is my spider alarm, or my man down. This is if I get into trouble, if there's a fight, I need assistance. I can pull this cord right here, and it'll tell you where the officer is, and that notifies all the other corrections officers, so they come running for your assistance. It's a PR-24. It's 24 inches long, 24 ounces. Not a lot of prisons in Ohio carry these. This is what stands between me and an inmate if they come rushing at me.
Scott Crandall is also feeling the pressures of his new home. It's the start of his 3rd week. He's enrolled in GED classes, but they're not providing him the information he really needs. Knowing whom to trust. In addition to the gangsters, he worries about sexual predators.
As a younger guy, you gotta watch out for there's a lot of people in here that are in here for some really bad crimes, like, you know, sexual offenders and stuff in here, so you gotta kind of watch out for them, because they look at you as a really easy target.
In prison, inmates are deprived of female company for years at a time. Some turn to other men for sex and take it by force. Young, baby-faced men are a preferred choice for assault. In a controversial study, 1 in 5 inmates reported they'd been sexually victimized behind bars. Crandall has to watch out for convicts trying to pressure him for sex. or extort him for money. It's 4 p.m. The cellmate, called a cellie, returns from his prison job and coaches him on prison rules.
But it helped me having a cellie that showed me a lot of things. Because when I first got here, I was just like you. Just like you, now you had me when you come in here and you lucked out, because you could have had one of them crazy as a cellie. But you lucked out and got me.
He's been trying to win Crandall's trust since he arrived.
We're cellies. I'm going to look out for you and watch your back, and you do the same for me. And that's the way cellies should be, if you can get two people...
To a more experienced inmate, the behavior might look like a trap, but not to Crandall. The cellie pushes him to buy a TV set and have his family send money.
That's why your mom helping you, I'm trying to point you in the right direction to do what you got to do to make sure you got that stuff. So that you're not in the same situation by not doing it while you got the chance that I was in when I got here.
It's recreation period, a time convicts use for hustling.
Sure.
At many prisons, the yard is a hotbed of criminal activity. But during Ohio's cold winters, the gangs prefer the gym. This is one of the few places at Lebanon where all the rival groups converge. Everyone from the Crips to the Aryan Brotherhood crowds in this spot. Crip leader Dyricus Albert knows he has to stay alert.
In the gym, we'll have to race and hurry up and get down here. Because we want one of our homies or two of our homies down here, and it's 10 or 15 of them, and they end up in trouble or getting killed. So we'll all try to make it down here so it'll be even.
More than 20% of Lebanon's prisoners are in gangs, and they're all trying to make a profit from the same pool of inmates. When competitors cross paths, violence usually follows. Gangs try to keep weapons within reach, and the gym offers plenty of hiding places. Even though officers spot check for weapons, Albert says they get around it by using unlikely carriers.
We had like white boys and stuff carry the knives out. So if the CO decided to pull me or any of my homies over, they'd pat us down, we wouldn't have none, and they'd let us carry on about our business.
Just 4 weeks ago, the Crips stabbed an inmate who tried to get out from under their control.
Paroled inmate Moore willingly gave his name and date of birth and advised this writer to watch her back.
Now, Warden Moore and his staff are watching them closely. Recently, the staff scoured the prison for weapons. They discovered hidden materials to make knives. Attacks have been on the rise across Ohio, and the warden is anxious to keep his prison safe. Now, he has just learned from a national agency that Crips across the country are planning riots. There's no time to waste. He calls for a shakedown. Tomorrow, members of the state's special response team will descend on Lebanon and turn it inside out. It's 7 a.m. at Lebanon Prison. 150 members of Ohio's Special Response Team, or SRT, flood through the front door. They're here to search top to bottom for weapons, drugs, and illegal goods. In Ohio, shakedowns only happen once every couple of years.
It's a good thing. I mean, it's healthy for institutions to do this, to make sure that there's no weapons out there, to make sure your staff's safe.
The operation is run by outside teams and kept secret even from prison staff, so that inmates have no advance warning.
Looks like it's on the even side.
Now I'm marking them.
Drop them over the range and we'll work our way down.
Going in, watch.
Officer Justin Johnson helps the SRT.
First shakedown, I don't think it happens very often actually, so pretty nicely involved in it.
But Johnson struggles to assert his authority.
Step back. Step back. Stand up. Get off your bunk, stand on the ground.
We'll get him. Hey, step off the bunk now. Come on.
Two-man teams search each cell. They strip the inmates naked.
All right, gentlemen, I need to stand up one at a time. Take your clothes off. We'll do a routine strip search here. Hand me everything you want to come out of the cell wearing.
The SRT dissect the cells, peering in bedposts, opening grates, and inspecting every item for hidden contraband.
What we're looking for? Weapons, drugs.
That's some gang paraphernalia. Major contraband.
The shakedown gives the new guard a chance to learn from the pros.
Big thing in here is you got to be confident. You got to come in here and you're in charge.
Take your shirt off. Everything comes off before you come out.
You learn how to, search the cell properly. Anything like that's helpful to me, being so new.
Few inmates welcome the raid.
Violate. You feel like an animal. You know what I mean? You feel like you ain't got no rights.
After the first wave of officers, a second special unit sweeps through. They're a gang investigation team, and they comb the cells for evidence of gang activity. Letters and symbols hidden in artwork tip them off.
Anything that's related to a specific group. We take it as contraband, and then we can profile the individual if we have enough information.
They're using the shakedown to create a database of every suspected gang member at Lebanon. Gang tattoos and branding give most of them away. Some of these men have joined gangs once in prison to gain protection and power. Dyricus Albert seems unconcerned about both the gang and weapons search.
Basically, every shakedown, they don't find no weapons. It's easy to hide knives. The institution is too big, and there's also too many items, and it's too easy to make knives.
Scott Crandall and his cellmate are next to be searched.
They told us to take all the stuff off our beds, take the sheets and everything off our beds, shake them out. They took our mats to have them x-rayed.
After 10 hours of exhaustive searching, the SRT have identified almost 100 new gang members and confiscated a small but sinister stash of contraband. From the menacing,
Be used to wrap up tight, come up behind somebody, and make a real nice choke tool.
To the ingenious, hollow highlighters that are used to hold blades.
They got a nice handle that fits comfortably in the hand. They've tightened it up so that it doesn't slip and slide, fits snugly, and you have the makings of a very nice shank, something that could certainly kill somebody.
But remarkably, no actual knives are found.
Now, I'm not naive enough to believe that we got everything. I'm sure there were some inmates out here that were able to conceal stuff, and our teams didn't find them. But I think we got a real thorough search, and I think, and I'm very pleased with the outcome of that search. It was very important to get this stuff out of prison.
The biggest challenge for the prison isn't confiscating the weapons, it's stopping the criminal mind. And to stop it, first you have to understand it. Officer Johnson uses a conversation with Dyricus Albert to get a closer look at how the Crip leader thinks.
What are you gonna do when you get out?
Same thing.
Same thing?
I refuse to be a deadbeat dad. And I'd rather die trying to feed my son than not trying to feed him.
I learned a whole lot. I mean, just talking with them, seems like their minds are totally different. They just think different than you and I. You know, why buy food when you can steal food? That's their thought. Crime is what they know. That's what they do.
But Albert has his own reasons for talking to Johnson. If he can gain the officer's trust, he might have more leeway to run his criminal enterprise.
You study him. You take a CO and get to talking to him. You see what he like. So it's basically about the money. So we're not gonna put a CO in front of our money. We gotta make money. That gangsters started this. They don't say that, and that's the main thing. Is gangsters make the world go round, and it's true. The governor, the president, they got something to do with all that.
I don't know about that.
And they do.
Johnson knows Albert probably has an agenda. But then, he hears something he doesn't expect from the leader of the Crips.
The dude I killed, his mom supposed to come see me. Yeah, we supposed to talk about it and stuff.
He reveals that a year ago, he agreed to participate in a program that allows victims to confront the criminals that hurt them.
I'm not doing this for my health. I'm doing this for you to give you closure, so you memorial your son better. But you sitting here throwing.
Albert's motivation is unclear, but meeting the mother of the man he killed will prove much harder than he thinks. In the 4 weeks since his arrival in Lebanon, little has changed for Scott Crandall. He's yet to become one of them.
They're making fun of you bad, hoes.
His cellmate is his one and only friend. Crandall's slow to reach out to others in prison. He's still focused on his old life. Under pressure from his cellie, he's agreed to buy a TV set, and his mother's been sending money.
She's helped me through all this. She's trying her hardest to take care of everything for me. My mom's just the best person in the world for me. There's nobody better, really.
Today, Crandall gets to see her. He's looking forward to news from home.
He don't like me helping him with his homework. He wants you back home so you can help him with his homework.
I like to hear what's going on, just the little things that people usually look over when they're on the outside. I like to hear that kind of stuff. It really doesn't matter what. It kind of hurts a lot more that I'm missing out on it.
He's giving me kisses and he sticks to me everywhere I go. Cheech goes crazy.
His mother's light stories are a sharp contrast to prison. Crandall's stories are from a very different world.
My block is for all, well, not all of them, but most of the people that are in here for murder and stuff like that. My block's not exactly the best block here. I think it's probably the worst block here.
His life has changed, and Crandall has to change along with it.
Everybody out there that doesn't think that they can be put in a place like this and nothing will ever happen, they're just really one mistake away from getting put in here, so.
Without friends, without family, he has to make it on his own. The visit is over.
I'll be back on the 26th, and I'll try to get the phone straight around so you can call home. Get your TV, okay? I love you. Hang in there. Get you out of here. You know? Just watch your back for me, okay? Careful. This is the closest to losing a child you can get to. And it doesn't go away. It stays with you. I get to go home to worry about what's going to happen here.
But here is Crandall's home now. And it's time for him to stop feeling like a son and start acting like an inmate.
It hurts because you gotta watch them leave. Watch them go out the door and they're going home, and you gotta go back to your cell block. Just go about your day the same way you was before.
Crandall decides to focus on his new life, the one behind bars. Just 1 hour after his mother leaves, he goes for a tougher look.
People that are racist basically like to shave it really, really low, almost skin tight. So I'm not exactly going that low, particularly because of that reason. On the outside, I was known as Scott. Now I'm inmate number 508080.
Convicts know it's critical to appear confident. But right now, the leader of the Crips is nervous. In a few hours, Darius Albert will face his victim's mother and widow. Confronting the consequences of his crime is proving harder than he imagined.
I feel it's going to be very emotional and uptight, but I just hope I'll be able to relax and answer the questions the way she wants them, and I hope I give them what they came for. And I just told her...
A counselor checks in on him.
Be there, because oh man.
You'll know what to say, and don't hold back.
Yeah, that's the only question I truly don't want to answer is why. That's the one that bothers me. That's what's beating my head up is when she say why. And that's something
you know, only you can give her the answers, and it's up to her what she does with those answers. Okay?
Yeah, you're right.
There's no turning back now. The gang leader is about to be in a situation that he can't control. As the meeting grows closer, Darius Albert struggles to keep his composure.
The day about basically closure and getting an understanding of the crime I committed. Nervous. I feel real nervous. The expression of the family's face when they see me. And how I'm gonna say when I'm gonna say it. Just shocked. A crazy feeling.
His victim's mother is waiting nearby, ready to confront him.
I wanted him to know the depths of our pain, because it's a pain that a mother cannot really describe and can't put into words. You know, it's like part of her heart has been ripped from her body. My heart is still breaking inside.
6 years ago, Albert murdered 27-year-old Albert Levon Lipford over a drug deal gone bad. Now, he must account for his actions. Shirley Burney lays eyes on her son's killer for the first time.
Okay, I'm kind of nervous right now. Mr. Darius, I'm sitting here writing this letter, trying to put into words how I'm feeling, with so much agony. I hope you don't mind me calling you by your first name. My son's first name is Albert. I would like to thank you for agreeing to this dialogue with myself and daughter-in-law. Coming here today was so stressful, knowing that I would be sitting across from the person who took my son's life. My son Albert knew who he thought he wanted to be in life, but chose a different direction and paid the price. He was never bored. Life was his playground. I sound like a doting mom. Mr. Darius, you and that piece of metal in your hand caused so much havoc. I don't think you will ever comprehend the damage you did that November evening. No, Mr. Dyricus, in closing this letter, I would like to leave this with you. I can't judge you, only God can. I hope you know him. Albert Lavon Lipfort's mom.
The mother and widow console one another. All Dyricus Albert has to offer is the truth of that night, a story he's never before shared.
I had some dope. I had 2 kilos of dope. I didn't know your son. One of my co-defendants knew him. The way he kept moving and moving, and I kept shooting and shooting, I'm thinking I'm not hitting him. But when he hit the little, it was just a little fence. I see he couldn't, you can step over it. And I seen him stagger over it, that's what let me know.
Then, Mrs. Burney asks for something harder to give than just the facts.
Well, how did you feel after you know that you've taken a life? I mean, how does it feel to take another human's life? Did you think about what you had done? You know, the families, your family?
I don't think about it because it'll get me killed. I can't have no conscience in the streets.
Do you have kids?
Yes, ma'am.
How many do you have?
1.
Girl or boy?
Boy.
Would you want your male child to grow up in your footsteps? No, take the lifestyle you're taking, the path?
No, I wouldn't. If it was my choice, I wouldn't want him to.
But you do have a choice. I mean, he has the opportunity to learn from you, your mistakes. That this is no place for anyone to be behind bars and take another person's life. All it accomplishes is grief for both families.
I know I can't ask you to forgive me, or I can't say I'm sorry.
Excuse me, I want to cut you off right there. I forgave you a long time ago. That was my healing process. So I forgave you. I didn't forgive your act, but I forgave you as a person.
It's a gift Albert has no right to expect.
I appreciate that. It's good knowing that. But I know I can't say I'm sorry enough, and I wish I could take it back.
Yes, you being here did a lot for her and I both. You know, because you didn't have to agree to this dialogue, but you did, you know. And we both want to thank you for speaking and being here.
All right, thank you.
You take care of yourself, you hear?
You too, man.
Seriously. And try to raise that boy of yours.
Thank you.
The meeting over, Albert heads back to cell block E. Elsewhere in Lebanon, Scott Crandall is growing into his new identity. He ventures out alone at rec to make new friends. He's aware that there are dangers here, and people he needs to avoid. But he knows that for the next 7 years, this is the life he's got to live.
I went from never getting in trouble before in my life to not being around any kind of people really that get in trouble. But now I'm constantly around other people every day. And that's who I live with, so I gotta deal with it.
Self-service.
Officer Justin Johnson has learned the ropes quickly.
Back and forth.
3 months into his new job, he's established his authority. And he's not afraid to use it.
Found it in your bedpost. You don't know what it is, huh?
You did a good job. You found it. Issue a conduct report.
And at first, you know, you really don't know what to expect, so you're not very confident at all. But as every day goes by, you learn more, and you do become more confident. You smoking in here? Sure smells like it.
Now, Dyricus Albert faces a choice about his future.
Knowing what I committed and what I did, and for me to accept it and go on, it does a lot for me. When my victim mom shook my hand, I feel like I was gonna melt because of seeing her and knowing that I took her son from her. It was my knees. I feel like I was gonna buckle. It made me think about my son and what I was going through.
No one can say if Dyricus Albert will make a change, or if his new awareness will fade with time. But one thing is certain. For the foreseeable future, he'll continue to make his way here.
Support by the Hope Network Center for Autism. You can join us and be part of a mission that takes on the challenges, the barriers, the statistics, let's overcome them all. HopeNetwork.org/autism.
Inside prison, there's a different world. A hunting ground where only the strong survive.
And basically survive when you're not free is by all means. Any and everybody that ain't your friend is your enemy. You got to eat.
They do what it takes to get what they need.
You gonna give it to me tonight?
The prison has rules, and so do the inmates. An unwritten code of survival by any means.
It's the jungle. You gotta live like it. You gonna be a man on mouth.
This is where predators meet prey. Inside Lebanon prison. It's 2 p.m. New inmates arrive at Lebanon Correctional Institution near Dayton, Ohio.
Name and number, fellas, and watch your bottom step. Go around the front of the bus. 7057.
These men are about to discover prison is a place with its own rules. To survive, they're going to have to learn them fast. Rule number 1, no contraband.
All five you guys get up and strip.
Guards search their bodies for smuggled weapons and goods. Next, inmates learn the prison hierarchy. New arrivals are at the bottom of the heap.
If I have to find you and hunt you down in order to give you back your property, I'll put you right in the hole. Simple as that. Any questions so far?
Lebanon is a close security prison, just one step away from maximum. 2,200 of Ohio's most dangerous men live on this hall. General population is separated into 9 cell blocks. Each has 3 tiers and houses up to 250 men. The majority of the prisoners here have been convicted of violent crimes. 30% are killers. A quarter are sexual predators. These men victimized innocent people in the outside world. Now, behind bars, the predation continues as the strong feed off the inexperienced and weak.
Big Pepper.
Dyricus Albert is one of the strongest.
I'm an original baby gangster from Eastside, Santana Block, Compton, Crip. I'm the head Crip in Lebanon, and I keep the ball rolling. Yeah, we lost, man. It's crazy.
Raised in a gang, Albert earned his way to Lebanon by shooting a man who didn't pay for his drugs. Albert shot at him not once, not twice, but 4 times, firing at his victim's back as he collapsed on the ground. And that's what he did before getting to prison. Once here, he fought his way to the top of the Crips.
You gonna give it to me tonight?
One of Lebanon's most powerful gangs. For inexperienced newcomer Scott Crendel, he knows just enough to be worried. It's his first week here.
It's scary at first, just expecting the unknown. It's like walking into school for the first time, like into high school or something like that.
High school is the world Crandall left behind. Just 2 years ago, he was in 10th grade, an ordinary kid from a good home. One night in December of 2004, his life drastically changed. It started when Crandall accidentally rear-ended a car. Angry, one of the car's passengers punched him and then sped away. Crandall chased him, pushing the other vehicle off the road and into a telephone pole. The crash injured a pregnant passenger in the other car, and she miscarried her baby. Crandall was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 7 years. Now he has to figure out how to live and survive as an inmate. Unlike many of the prisoners, Crandall's not violent, street smart, or strong. 3 strikes against him as he tries to make his way in the criminal world.
No, I'm not like the guys in here. I was told I've been here before, got in trouble all their life. They really don't care what goes on their record and everything. But me, I've never been in trouble before. I don't go looking for trouble.
All that stands between him and veteran convicts is the institution. Ernie Moore is warden of Lebanon. He's roaming the cell blocks, doing his best to keep the inmates safe from one another.
How's it going?
I'm ready to go to the shop, sir.
All right.
Yeah, a knife is a deadly weapon.
It's not easy.
A knife is a deadly weapon. I'm not saying I'm a good guy, but the guy got caught with a knife, man was literally trying to kill me.
I got inmates here that have committed aggravated murder, that have murdered more than one person, serious sex offenders that have raped multiple women. I've got guys in here that have kidnapped people, heavy hitter drug traffickers. I've got guys in here that have seriously assaulted staff, seriously assaulted children.
Controlling hundreds of violent men is a daily challenge. Lebanon is a well-run prison, but a recent stabbing and escape attempt have put everyone on edge. Still, staff try hard to rehabilitate inmates through various programs, including work in a license plate plant that makes all of Ohio's plates.
We need to work with these guys because 80 or 90% of the inmates, even here at Lebanon, are someday going to be back out in society.
But many inmates don't care about their future and rehabilitation. They care about the here and now. To make their lives more comfortable, they'll steal from whomever they can.
I need you to get involved in positive activities while you're here. I see it as part of my job as the warden to put as many positive activities in front of you.
At orientation, the warden warns new arrivals of the dangers ahead.
And every prison's a little bit different, so I wanted to get this opportunity to explain to you some of the rules. But before
Scott Crandall listens intently. Warden Moore tells the inmates whom to avoid.
Something called the 10% rule. Wherever you go in life where there's a large group of people, usually about 10% of those people are knuckleheads. It's the guys running the drugs. It's the guys that's doing the gangs. It's the guys that's extorting and stealing from people. That's what I'm talking about. What I'm asking is you stay away from them and do your time.
Many new inmates fall prey to exploitation through activities that seem harmless. Gambling, borrowing, even accepting gifts can put them in another's debt. Crandall will have to quickly learn these unwritten rules